We all go a little mad.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Horror Hour, the place where we discuss, debate, and disagree on all things horror. I'm still your favorite host, Yutaka. And then also I'm joined with me, one of our current co-hosts as well. Notice how I said current. No, just kidding. George.
Good evening, everybody, or good morning. I always say that because I never know what time people are listening to this. It could be in the day, it could be the night, and I want everyone to feel included and inclusive because that's what this podcast is all about. That was a long introduction. Hello, how are you?
Oh, that's typical George fashion, y'all. Hope you enjoyed it. All right, so I'm really excited because today we are reviewing a Shudder original movie, VHS 94. So I'm excited. Right now, it currently does still hold a Rotten Tomatoes score of 100 with 11 reviews. Pretty good. It'll probably drop. That we just know how that is. But either way, we're going to talk about it and we're going to let you know our thoughts. And then if you should see it or not. Yeah. I think that's appropriate. Yeah. So I think best we just go through the segments of the film. So we'll first start off with Jennifer Reeder's Holy Hell. What were your thoughts?
So this is the overall story, correct?
Yes.
So the beginning of it, the introduction, I found quite interesting. I found it quite disturbing. I was like, I don't really know what's going on, that especially, and I don't know if it was more again, and I did think this would be a factor in making this film more creepy, was the VHS style of it. It was a lot of the ones in the past have been sort of, modern day technology, cameras and whatnot, whereas this one, was very Blair Witch. So I think that added a bit of, creepiness to it because it's all a bit distorted. So the opening, I was like, whoa, what the hell is going on? This is crazy. And I was really interested to find out. I'm always a bit, I'm just interested to always find out what it is about these tapes that create, because each one has had a different story of, what each different set of tapes has had a different story. So I was interested to see where this one would go. And if you haven't seen this, I'm going to mention a slight spoiler. Well, actually, it's not really a spoiler. I just thought the ending of it, I was kind of like, oh, okay. Like it just seemed a bit like the acting didn't seem great from the two ladies, unfortunately, who were doing it. It seemed really like drama school, like, we're making a horror film thing.
Okay.
It didn't. I was just kind of like, oh, that's a bummer. That ending didn't really do it for me. But the opening, as I say, I was hooked. I was like, oh my God, what is this? What is happening? Why are these people like this? I need more. So that did. I just don't think the ending was executed correctly. But the ending of all these VHS has always been a bit campy and crazy, I guess. So I don't know what I was expecting, but
So I think with that, I would say I liked the progression. I really did, because I agree. I think it started out strong and for this segment. And as we continued to go on, it got more grotesque, which I really loved. But then I agree, the ending was just, I was like, oh, I was kind of hoping, and like you said, I was kind of hoping for a little bit of like resolution. I mean, there was to that story in a sense, but it just kind of felt forced. So that was a bummer. But overall, I still liked that segment. I just don't think it was one of the strongest. So
yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. So next we have Chloe Okuno's Storm Drain. So I'll go first on this one.
Yeah.
And I'll just tell you, I fucking loved it. So if you caught my interview with Simon Barrett, I know I'm plugging that, but if you did, you'll notice one of the things that really gets me is claustrophobic spaces. So as a this reporter and our cameraman go in this storm drain to look for this Raatman. And as they go deeper, and obviously there's very low light, and it's just, obviously you're in a storm drain, so it's very tight. So for me, like my blood pressure, I mean, I was at all high because I'm watching this at night and I'm like,
yeah.
So, and then just, I enjoyed the acting. I enjoyed some of the death scenes because those were vicious, and the ending was everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So I won't spoil that. I loved it. So how about yourself?
Yeah, I agree. I love a good, I mean, obviously that was, those documentary style ones, obviously Blair, which was kind of but more like Wreck, those types of ones where you've got like the hello and welcome to, like, I kind of like, it's kind of fun to like, because you always see those videos online of like bloopers from newsreels. So this is quite, it kind of adds like, fuck's sake, let's do it again. So I was really interested to find out, because I was like, Raatma, like, what is this about? And I was kind of like, and then at first I thought that, again, I don't want to give too much away, but the first person, obviously they meet a person in the drain, and I thought that was this Raatma.
I did too, yeah.
And I was kind of like, oh, but then when you find out what Raatman actually is, I was like, this is really uncomfortable.
Right?
Because at first it's like really dark and it's only showing slight shots, and and you're kind of like, what the hell is going on? And the more they close in on this, you kind of like, the more disturbing it is. And I really felt for the character, even though these are only short films. I really felt for the characters in that short time. I thought the two leads, the lady and the guy, were really, really good. The cameraman. So yeah, and I agree. The ending, of course, which you'll know when you see it, I was kind of like, and then it does kind of, that sets the precedent, I think, for the rest of the episodes, if you want to call them that, or segments, for the level of intensity that you're going to get. Because I was like, oh wow, weird. And I do remember previous VHSs being quite they've always had, there's always been an element of gore, or real like, let's go there sort of thing. But yeah, I just wasn't expecting it to be that, and I was like, oh wow, okay, like that's a lot, but it was a lot of fun.
It looked really good too.
Yeah, and again, in that sort of 90s VHS style, it just added a bit like more to it. So yeah, I really, as a first like episode, you want to call it, because obviously the Holy Howlers overall was the first VHS tape. I thought that was a really good start.
Agreed. All right, so the next one, I'll let you start on this one. This one is Simon Barrett's The Empty Wake.
This is my favorite of all of them. I don't know. I just really, really enjoyed it. I felt like, not as a spoiler for what we're going to say for the rest of them, but I felt like they all went downhill after this one for me. I didn't really enjoy them as much. The first two I thought were really strong anyway, but this one I really, really liked. The setting, I was like, oh, Haunted of Hill House. Again, the style of the, because to be fair, I've never seen many horror films, I haven't seen enough of them, that are set in like a funeral director's place. I mean, Afterlife, but that's not really a horror film, that's more of a psychological thriller. But yeah, I really, really liked it, and I loved the cameras. It was giving me my favorite Paranormal Activity, because we were switching between like all three of them, which I really, really liked. That main girl, I thought she was great. Yes. She really stood her own, because she was basically the only person in it, apart from the two guys at the beginning. And there wasn't even that much dialogue in particular. There was she made a couple of phone calls, but it was all just the atmosphere really built, and it was the slow creaks and the noises. And again, that ending, like when again, it's difficult to spoil, but when there's a lot of noise going on, something happens, and when she finds out what it is that's making that noise and you see it again, I was kind of like, whoa, okay, this is another sort of, they're really upping their game in terms of, I mean, I don't know if it was special effects or if it was a mixture of that and practical effects, but that really like I watched it at night. I had a really long day, so I was tired and I was like dark, and I was kind of like, oh, like that out of all of them, I think maybe the most uneasy. But I loved it. And yeah, the ending, I was kind of like, that kind of came out of nowhere. It was the sort of what happened. I feel like the what happens at the end, not with with her, but with the atmosphere. I'm trying not to spoil.
I'll spoil that part because I'll explain that, because it's not really like I'll explain why that part was my favorite part in that, though.
I mean, it was good. It was just kind of, I was like, oh, okay, this is going somewhere. And the ending, I was kind of like, I mean, I would like to follow this story on. Out of all of them, this is the one. Well, that actually, the first two, I would like to see sequels to.
Yeah.
Because that left you on kind of like okay, what happens now? You know. So yeah, for me though, that was The Empty Wake was my favorite, and I had no idea until the end. And this was, of course, I think when I watched this, I think you may have already filmed your interview with Simon. I can't remember when.
I think you probably did, yeah, because I had watched it. But I finished it right before I interviewed him, so we talked about this one. Because I'm going to agree with George on this one. This was by far, it's my favorite, not just because Simon Barrett, because I love his stuff, but this hit on so many levels, and also because it's funny. I agree with George. The setting was great. I love the switching of the cameras. Mm-hmm. Yes, Hell House vibes, even though we could see.
Not Hell House, The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh,
in the wake, but I mean Hell House too, sure.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed just the setting, and that particular reveal that George is talking about. That also caught me off guard, and that was good, really good. And it was, yes, I was like, oh, and me too. I was like watching it at night. This one I watched at night. The other two I actually had to watch the next day in the morning, because but I was watching, I'm like, oh. And then the part that though sunk in for me, then the sounds. So not sure if you have tornadoes over in the UK.
Well, we don't tend to, but I watch probably at least once a month 12 videos of, I love watching like the worst tornado chases. I love all of that. So I'm very familiar with them. Yeah.
So, but here, when we hear that siren, that like it just drops like the pit of my stomach, and I'm like, oh, because it immediately means get to the lowest point of your house. And so I'm hearing that, and she's in this moment of distress, and it just adds to the element of just like, holy shit. And yes, I would love to see where it goes, but that, to me, just hearing those sounds and then what happens, I was just like, damn, it just, for me, I was like, I felt that.
Yeah.
And it just added more, even though obviously there's this, unnatural things happening, but that added this realism to it. Yeah. And it made me uneasy at that point. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to stop this right now and finish the rest in the morning. Because I was like, that was good. So yes, that was beautiful. I really loved it. And I don't agree with George that it went downhill. I don't know if it peaked. Well, I think this peaked, but I did have one more that I liked just as much. So with that said, we're going to take a short little break because I need a drink, not an adult beverage. It's too early for me. And then we're going to continue. Be right back.
Bye.
All right. And we're back. I don't know. I always actually clap. So we'll just get with it, guys. So the next segment is Timo's, and I'm not going to butcher that last name, so I'm just going to say Timo. And his is The Subject. So I'll go ahead and go since we're alternating. And I'll just say on this one, I fucking loved it too. And the reason why is I got gamer vibes.
Yeah.
I really, really did. I thought the intro was just creepy. And also one of the things I do love is it was all subtitled. It was in their language.
That's something I think VHS do well, because they
Yeah.
did a similar one with VHS 2, didn't they?
Yeah,
with
because
another
Timo
Asian
did
one.
a segment as well.
Oh, was that one he did?
Yeah.
Because that was my favorite out of all of those.
Yeah.
The one with the devil. Spoiler.
Yeah, no, Timo did that one too. And so I already knew. I was like, okay, I know I'm gonna expect some gore for sure. And gore we got. Crazy scientists doing experiments on people, and the place gets raided. And then one of his test subjects, or the subject, just goes on an all-out killing spree. And it's fantastic. I loved it because I loved the point of view. I was getting like first shooter gamer vibes. They added a little bit of emotion because that ending was kind of, I was like, oh. So for me, I fucking loved it. And the gore. Oh my God, all that blood. Oh. So for me, yeah. George, your thoughts?
So I liked it. But obviously because I'm more of a supernaturally paranormal, like zombie, like favor. So obviously the last one I was still breathing off that one, like that was so cool. This one I did enjoy. Obviously, yeah, like I agree with you. It was very like game, video game sort of style, which I appreciated. But yeah, I don't know. I think a part of it for me, I kind of just got the beginning of it was very like prolonged. Like it took a while to get into the. Obviously, I agree there was a lot of gore and stuff at the very end, but I feel like the first like 20 minutes, I don't know how long it was. Maybe it was the first 10, 15 minutes, I don't know, whatever. The first half was quite slow. And I understand it was building, you were kind of finding out the story of this guy and obviously, all those sorts of things. But I mean, I did enjoy it. I didn't think like, I just kind of, yeah, it didn't really stick out to me. And I think also with the when we see the other subjects that was there, there was a part which kind of took me out because I could kind of see the CGI-ness of it.
Yeah.
And so I was just kind of a bit like, I mean, it wasn't like annoying. I was just kind of like, oh yeah, like there was part where I think he turns around or something. Mm-hmm. I was kind of like, oh, I can see that is like thingo. But I mean, not that normally bothers me, but I just, yeah, I don't know.
So I think also with that segment, I think when I was chat with Simon, I think Timo and his team actually used some of their own money to add more to it. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think there was I don't think they had the budget to do some of those things. And so, yeah, which I think that's dedication to your craft.
Yeah.
So me plugging that.
But I didn't hate it or anything. And yeah, the ending I thought was quite nice. Quite nice. But I appreciated the ending, as you said, the sort of like emotional, aspect of it. But yeah, I mean, I'd say I didn't hate it, but I'd say it wasn't like my favorite. It was just like all right for me, I would say.
I could totally see though, like Simon's segment was just that was top tier in a sense. That's how good it was.
Yeah,
in my opinion, because like as I was saying, that's the reason I was like I could have finished, but I was like, whoa, like I need to come down. Like my heart rate. The way they did that was smart with Chloe Okuno's and then Simon's. Like my heart rate was so up. I was like, I'll finish this later. That's how much this movie was like, damn.
Yeah. So
we'll move on to the final segment, Ryan Prows' Terror.
Mm-hmm. I found it really boring, I have to say. I didn't like it. I understand it was trying to be like this, political thing. You had really no idea what was going on. And yeah, I kind of was like, why the fuck is this guy? There is obviously someone in it who, without giving too much away, keeps coming back. And I was kind of like, what is going on? And I didn't really understand. I understand it was going for sort of a political sort of vibe, which is fine, but I just don't think it executed it very well. We spent so much time with these characters who I didn't really care for anyway. I know you're not supposed to care for them.
Yeah, no, I don't think. I would hope you don't care for them.
We're rooting for you, but you know what I mean. But also, I just feel like the characters weren't fleshed out enough, and they were all very similar. They were basically all just dickheads. So it didn't really, because I didn't even have chance to like really hate them. I just found their characters very all one-dimensional and plain. So when the ending bit happened, I wasn't really like, because they're only short stories, we wouldn't have so much time with characters. The ending kind of came out of, because again, you don't really know what it is. And then it was very interesting because I was like, well, I mean, this came out around midnight mass. Which is very similar story in a sense. But yeah, so I just was really boring, and the setting was kind of, I just didn't like it. And then the ending was all right, but it was over so quick. And then the last scene, I was like, I don't know. It just seemed a bit lost for me out of all the others.
Again, we're going to disagree on this one, George.
Did you like this?
I did.
Oh, wow.
And the reason why is because, plug in that interview, because guys, sorry, but Simon Barrett is just fun to chat with. You should
don't
check
need to
that
plug
out.
the interview because everyone already likes him anyway, so it's already going to be viewed.
So go watch it anyways. But the way he described this was perfect. It was literally a Monty Python's version of white supremacists.
Yeah.
And when he said that, I was like, oh shit, that is pretty funny. Because to me, I was laughing quite a bit at them, not with them, because they weren't laughing. Without giving anything away, though, I really died laughing when the one dude came out and like, no, you got all that on you.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh shit, these guys are idiots. If I had a couple critiques, the bell scene every time, that got on my nerves. And I don't know what the purpose of that was, if it was to kind of like jar you, but I was like, dude, that was like, one was already too many once I heard that sound. And I feel like that was probably there to, but overall, I still enjoyed it because I think after what we had seen previously with all the other segments, it was kind of nice to laugh, because none of the other ones were really, and again, we're not laughing with them, we're laughing at these guys. And I liked that ending. That was kind of fun surprise. I loved their take on it. Really, like the design, I really loved that. And then, without giving it away, when they go into that attic area, that was really neat. But for me, I really enjoyed it. I don't think it was the strongest, but I don't think, like I said, for me, Holy Hell was probably the weakest.
Yeah.
And this one would probably be next. Like if I were to rank them, which we'll do at the end, we'll do that. But I still enjoyed it though. I really did. It was funny because again, when it was the 90s, so they're driving around and the way everything looked, I was just in that setting and it was quite hysterical. But I really enjoyed that segment. So, but I could totally get your complaints because I don't think the characters were meant to have depth at all.
No, yeah, I suppose not. Because I don't know. It just was a bit. It felt like it could have been maybe 10 minutes. Like they could have just done it once and then got to the end bit. Like I felt like they were dragging out.
I see what you're saying. Maybe they stretched it out.
Like there was like 2 or 3 days worth of like before it got to the end, and I was kind of like, I understand we're trying to find it. Like,
I could totally see. Yeah, there could be a little bit of things they could have cut out of it. Sure.
Yeah. And I didn't really understand why they kept doing what they were doing. Like
that bell though. That was. And that sound too, like it was so loud. Like every time it came on though, I felt like I had to turn it down because it just felt not on the same audio track as everything else. And so I agree. Again, if it was meant to jar you, it certainly did, but that was an annoyance. So but before we let's actually, you know what? We're gonna wing it.
I can tell you mine.
let's rank these then from our lowest to our most favorite, which we're both gonna have the same favorite. But the lowest for me, holy hell, just wasn't as strong as all the other ones. I thought visually it still had some great moments. I love a good, eyes pulled out or anything like that. Dude, that's one of my favorites. Black Christmas, anyone? The recent one, not the recent one. That was, but Holy Hell was my least favorite. How about yours?
Yeah, I would. Do you know? I would actually probably say Terror, because I would say Terror and then Holy Hell, because Terror just kind of it just bored me, whereas Holy Hell at the very beginning I was really interested to find out what was going on. It was just the ending that I was kind of like, that was a bit lackluster, whereas Terror for me I was kind of like, so I would say Terror and then Holy Hell. Sorry, so what was your number?
No,
what about
I get
your
that.
number 4 then?
Well, yeah, I think my number 4 is Terror.
Mm-hmm.
I still enjoyed it, but I mean, I just still enjoyed it. To be honest, I'm going to tell you overall, I love the movie, but this one I still enjoyed. But with the other ones that are still left, those were just better in terms of, because so I would do Terror, and then my next one would be it'd be The Subject. Really enjoyed that. I just really did. Timo did a great job. I wasn't expecting to get a little bit of emotional vibes in it, and that was kind of nice. So I would say my third is The Subject. How about yours?
I would agree. I think we've got the final 3 is the same. So I would say The Subject third. There were elements that I enjoyed more, like that had more of a rewatch factor than the others for me. The ones that I've just stated, obviously, but it wasn't the worst for me. It wasn't my favorite. It was just kind of in the middle, and I was kind of like, if it was on, I would watch it, sort of thing. Whereas the others, I would kind of be like, I'm just gonna make a cup of tea while this is on. So sorry to Ryan Prows and Jennifer Reeder. But so that would be my number 3. So obviously then my number 2 would be Storm Drain, because it was a lot of fun. It was really cool. I liked the vibe, the atmosphere. It was a lot of it just was really, really good, and it was a really good introduction to the rest of the VHS tapes.
That's true.
It was a strong start, and I think Chloe did an amazing job with that. So that would be my number 2, which I'm assuming your number 2.
Yeah, I think we're the same on this too. I thought Storm Drain was great when it set the tone. Honestly, it set a very high bar, and again, that claustrophobic feeling. I also think, like you said, the 2 actors in it, they did a great job. You could tell the fear and that surprise of an ending. Beautiful. But now, obviously, as we both agree, our number 1, Simon Barrett's The Empty Wake. And I think we like it for different reasons. I'm totally loving it because as a Midwest guy, it hit home. And so I loved it. I loved the different camera angles. That was probably one of my favorite parts, where she's terrified and they do go from a different angle. And I'm like, that's so cool to see. I just thought that was, that was my favorite out of all of them. Your thoughts again on?
Again, same. I really enjoyed the atmosphere. I really enjoyed the setting of it. The 3 cameras angle was really good, because you're constantly thinking, why is the angle switching? Like, am I going to see something from this angle? Do you know what I mean? So you're constantly like looking for things. I thought the actress, I'm sorry, I don't know her name, but she was really good. The main woman who was in that, she was really basically on her own for the whole thing, and I think she really managed to lead it through. And you kind of felt like that sort of, she did a really good job. And like then bringing in the hand, because a lot of it was found footage, but it was static. So then when she picked up the camera, you kind of like, oh, this is where it gets like, and it was dark at times, and she's turning around dead quick, and you're like, I was there, like, I'm waiting. So yeah, for me, just the atmosphere and everything, for me, that was the perfect one. And I would like watch that. Like I would go and whenever I'm watching VHS, like I was like, do you know what? I'm waiting for a taxi. I've got 20 minutes spare. Let me just chuck on The Empty Wake while I wait. So yeah, for me, that was, and then to find out at the end when I was watching the credits, it was Sam and Barrett. So I was like, oh my God, no way. Because I had no idea before that it was. So yeah. But okay, then let me ask you then, overall then, out of the 4 VHS movies we've had so far, how are you rating them all?
Well, I don't like 3 at all, so that is
No.
just trash. Sorry.
Because mine would probably be 4 would be VHS viral.
Yeah.
Then I would probably say 3 would be, I'm probably going to have to say 94. I probably am. 2 VHS 1, and 1 for me is VHS 2. I think VHS 2 is the best one. Maybe I need to go back and rewatch VHS and VHS 94
I would
again.
switch that up a little. I mean, I think
Okay.
we're both in the same in terms of viral, but I would go viral 1, 94, and then 2.
2, yeah.
2 was great.
I think, yeah.
Overall, though, I would still say this is worth a watch.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
I
gives you a
really
different
did.
vibe.
It was great. Obviously, yeah, there were some missteps, but overall, I still think it's a fun film. I think it has some of the segments are very rewatchable. Like you said, I kind of probably am going to go watch a couple today, and I'd suggest watching it. It premieres on Shudder. It's a Shudder original film. Yay, Shudder! They're probably like, will you guys just shut up?
Look, they're behind
us,
and the VHS cover's right there. I can't do
yes, look at that. Look at that product placement.
We love it.
But yeah, it premieres on October 6th, and I think you all should watch it. So
it's obviously part of Shudder's 61 days of Halloween. So definitely watch it. I think it's a lot of fun. It's definitely one to watch if you're comfortable having people around, friends. I think it's one of those ones that's great with a group of people, popcorn, a few drinks, and just having like a really good time. Like, and then everyone has their own, you know, you can then talk about how everyone's got their own favorite story. And I just think, yeah, it's great that it's coming out this month. It's definitely a Halloween October film for sure. I know, you know, horror films come out all the time of the year, but some just fit Halloween and October, and for this one does fit. So I agree. Go and watch it. Get Shudder. And if you don't have it, get a life.
Oh, I normally just say, if you don't have Shudder, do you really love horror?
Yeah. If you don't, you know, if you can also get it as part of your Amazon Prime subscription. Hi, Amazon. Just sneaking you in there. I'll have
it's still a Shudder subscription.
But
good
yes,
Lord.
But you can join it. But I'm saying, you know, it's easy to add on if you've already got Amazon, but if not, just go on Shudder. It's good. So yes, I guess that's it. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Yutaka. It was a lot of fun to discuss this. Me and Yutaka have been really excited about this film for a long time, so it's good that we finally be able to talk about it and review it. And I do think, you know, although some of it wasn't my favorite, it still held up. You know, I wasn't disappointed by the film. I would say I was still really, really good. But you should let us know, of course, in the comments if you've seen it, or when you have seen it, what you think about it. If you like it, which one was your favorite story and why? Make sure, of course, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, because all of that helps us so much. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And you can also get our merch. The link will be in the description below. It is on redbubble/shop/the horror hour. There's going to be some new stuff hopefully coming soon in the works. Things are in the works. There's lots of things in the works. I feel like those YouTubers who are like, I can't reveal what's coming next, but I've got some really exciting things.
I'll go ahead and review a few, or reveal a few things. Yeah, I'm going to be coming at you with a lot of more solo reviews, because unlike them, I don't have a life. So I've got plenty of reviews coming for you guys.
Yutaka's Corner every week. Sundays with Yutaka. It's like a radio show, you know, when you host like a...
Yes.
Yeah, no, I have to shout out to Yutaka while we're on here because he has been doing a lot of work. So I really appreciate all you've done. And I want everyone to, you can leave that link because I want everyone to also know you've done a lot for this channel. And I appreciate that you've been helping out a lot as well. Ben's just turns up when he can, to be honest. So
Ben's Ben.
Ben's Ben, but we still love to have him around. So it's all good. But yeah, there's so much going on. It's really exciting. And yeah, I guess we'll see you all next time for another video.
Ooh, but
Bye.
I just did spirit fingers. Oh my God. Bye.
Bye.
You have been listening to the Horror Hour. See you next time.